Welcome to the KINJAZ Podcast. Here we will discuss dance, life, and whatever the we want.
Folks, welcome back to KINJAZ Movement in the Shadows. I'm your host, Ben.
And I am Anthony.
And we are stoked for today's guest. It's been a minute. We've been working on this one, but we got it to work. Folks, we have singer, songwriter, and producer. His single Cooler Than Me off his debut album 31 Minutes to Take Off in 2010 was a top 10 single on the Billboard 100, as well as his top 20 single Please Don't Go. In 2015, his single I Took a Pill in Ibiza peaked number 10 on the charts in 27 countries around the world. We have D-Town's very own Mike Posner in the podcast.
What up, though?
Mike, what's good, bro?
Chilling.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on. You are chilling. You're like way more chilling than I had expected. But dude, we've been excited for this one and we finally got it to work, man. Thank you so much for coming through, man.
You got it.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, there's so much that we'd love to get into. We always kind of start with kind of like the beginning origin story. So however deep or brief you want to go, can you give us just a snapshot of kind of where you came from and how you kind of grew up in the scene and all that?
Yeah, I grew up, I was born in Detroit. I grew up in a suburb that borders Detroit called Southfield, Michigan. I started basically rapping when I was like 8 years old. I'm 34 now.
Okay, let's go.
What was that, 26 years ago? Started making beats. End of high school, I met a guy named Sean. Started doing beats for him.
You mean as in Big Sean?
It was Big Sean.
Oh, okay,
But I said
It was just Sean at the time.
You can't just go with the Sean.
No, I was going to reveal it, but
okay.
I tell the story like that.
I ruined the story. Sorry, let's go back. Go back to Sean.
Fine. I just tell a story like that because he wasn't named that yet.
Okay.
At the time, so when I met him, he was Sean, he basically like jumped me in his crew. I started doing beats for him a lot. Hooks for him. I went to college. We're the same age. He was supposed to go to Michigan State. He had like a scholarship there, but Kanye told him he got signed to Kanye. Kanye said, "Don't go."
Oh snap!
He said, "You're gonna be a professional rapper when you go." I went to Duke University, and while I was there, I started playing around, basically adding melody to my raps. I started kind of like singing my raps, and stumbled on like a new sound for me, new sound for myself. And I had this song in my dorm room. I guess I'm getting a little past origin, but
no, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I had this song I recorded like just in my dorm room that was called Cooler Than Me. You mentioned it.
Yeah.
For people that don't know it, they might probably recognize it. It goes, if I could write you a song to make you fall in love, I would already have you up under my arm. This song. So I wrote this and I recorded it right in my in my dorm, and it started to like catch on. And by this time I've been making music like 12 years. I'm like 20. I started when I was 8, and I could tell someone was different, right? Cause like I guess those first 12 years I really loved making music, but no one seemed to like really give a tremendous amount of care about what I was doing until I made that, and it just started to spread. My junior year in college, I was getting a lot of offers from record companies.
That's crazy.
I remember like finals week, my junior year, my manager called and he's like, we gotta go to New York. I was like, I was just in New York, man. Like, I gotta study. He's like, you gotta go back to New York. I was like, for what? He's like, Jay-Z wants to meet you.
Wow.
I was like, man, guess I'm going to New York. Right?
It's a good reason for a New York
But I didn't
trip.
really believe it was going to happen. Like, I thought I was going to get there and then, like, I would meet someone that worked with Jay, or he would get busy or something. Anyways. So I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell any friend. I literally told nobody. I just left. Like on a Thursday.
This was during finals week, so you like didn't even take tests?
No, I think I told the story wrong. Like it was the week before finals week.
Before.
What they have a name for that, right? Where you can just study.
Oh, was that like cramming week or
Cramming week. Yes.
There's a name for
week.
it. There's a name. You know it. There's a name for it. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up. I feel like I remember they give you some like a time off a few days before finals, just to study for finals.
Okay,
That sounds really familiar. Actually,
It was like that time. And then, you know, some of the courses, you don't have a final, you have papers.
Yeah, exactly.
So I had like a lot of papers to write.
Mm.
Anyways, I went to New York, like contrary to what I thought was gonna happen, which was he wasn't gonna be there. I went to this room, like corner office, and like Jay-Z was sitting there. I was real nervous, you know. I had like my laptop. I was like, "Yo, can I plug it in?" Because you know, you got to play him songs, right? And then like I couldn't get it to work. Like the plug wasn't work. Like some with the aux cable, we figured it out. And I played him Cooler Than Me. I remember he just started nodding his head like this, like that. And we had like a long meeting with him. Like it was like 2 hours.
Oh dang.
And John Maneely was there. And Jay-Z said, what do we do now? And John said, I think we do a deal. And Jay was like, cool. So we shook hands, we left. I went back to college. I went back to the library. I was typing my paper up. And,
how did you even get back into school?
How did you even focus like
yeah,
that?
man, I'm out. I'll see you later.
Yeah, I went to school and I was typing my paper and then I was procrastinating a little. So I checked my email and I got a offer for a record deal from Rock Nation. So I was a little distracted after that. You know, that paper wasn't my best paper. That was my only C. That was my only C, that paper. Right?
Might have been your last paper though, huh?
Well, I thought, right? So I was being courted by several labels. I ended up not signing to Jay-Z. I signed to RCA. And I thought I was going to drop out. I really only had a semester left. And I was ready to drop out. My mom, like, damn near flipped the kitchen table over, you know. She was like, you know, if you drop out of school, it's gonna be a big problem for me. Big problem. So I was like, all right, man, I'll finish. I only got a semester left, you know. So I finished school, but I kind of just double life where I would go to school during the week, and the weekend I play shows at other schools because my music started to catch on at different colleges. Just expanding out of like my friendships. First was like the first people heard my music, and they show other people, and then people liked it too, right? Because if it's not actually good, it just stops there. But then those people actually liked it, and they would share it to other. Anyways, I saw Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I would fly different school, and I play like frat parties and stuff. And I go to these schools, everyone know the words to the songs.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was wild. But it's sometimes be like 20 people, 50 people, 100 people. And I finished school, I graduated, and
what was your major, by the way?
My major was sociology.
Sociology.
Yeah, my major was sociology. And I was like touring, and my manager at the time, his name was Daniel Weissman, he's still a good friend of mine. I had my record deal, and I was like cutting all these new songs. And for my new album, like I had made 3 mixtapes. I was getting ready to make an album. So I was thinking like some of these new songs are gonna be my first single off the new album. And Daniel came to me, he goes, your single's gonna be Cooler Than Me. I said, what are you talking about? Cooler Than Me's 2 years old. It's been out 2 years. Everybody knows it already. It's old. Everyone's heard it. He looked at me, he goes, nobody's heard it. Nobody's heard it. You know, I was living my life like doing this college circuit, and it was like I'm the center of this little thing, and I thought like, yeah, like this song, I gotta. He's like, no one's heard it. So he hired a guy named ENC who was a radio promoter. He helps just get your song on the radio. So he just focused on a few radio stations, one in Sacramento, one here, and what's the other one? I think it was one in like New Mexico or something. But he got him to play a song on the radio, and I guess it started to do really well there. And it started to blow up like in those markets. And then my label saw it, wow, it's blowing up. And they just got it everywhere else. And song became like really popular, man. It was my first single. I was going around the world, taking my shirt off at shows, crowd surfing, you know, making more money than I deserve. And then this funny thing happened, like after that first single, I put out a second single, and it wasn't as popular. And then I put one out after that, and that one was even less popular. And the trend kind of continued basically until like my career was considered over. I was considered like a one-hit wonder, and I was a one-hit wonder at the time. And so I had made a little chunk of change, whatever. But I remember I had a house in the Hollywood Hills, and my calendar was just empty. And it's like, what now? What now? No one cares. Like it's over. And so I started to think like, well, I still really love music, man.
Yeah.
You know?
You've been doing it since you were 8. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, well, whether I'm popular or not, like, I think I still want to do that. So maybe I could take that time to get better at music. Because before that, you know, like, I made beats, I rap, but I didn't really know how to sing.
Yeah.
And so I just started, like sharpening the sword. And like playing piano 4 hours a day, taking lots of singing lessons, learning the guitar. And now, like, I could play a concert, just me and my guitar and my piano. But then I didn't know, I didn't play anything.
Wow.
You know? And I just kept working. And it was a beautiful moment. It was really hard, but I had to figure out, like, who are you? I thought I was the young popular guy making money, taking my shirt off at shows.
Yeah.
But then I was gone. So, like, who are you really underneath that? And I had to struggle to find that. You know, it's like really a identity crisis, I guess, or existential crisis, you know? And it's beautiful in hindsight, difficult at the time. So I kept working and writing a lot, man. Writing a lot. Lots of songs. Just tracking. And then I basically kept making albums. But the label was like, man, I was so cold. I was just ice cold. Like, really, I was like shelved. It means like you're signed to a label, but they're not gonna put your album out because no one cares. Because it costs money to put an album out. You gotta pay the producers. You gotta pay for marketing. You gotta pay to, at that time, make the actual CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, we're just not gonna put it out because we don't think it warrants spending all that money. And that's not like, I'm not bitter at all. Like, it's just a decision, business decision.
Yeah.
So I was making stuff, but it wasn't. I made like 2 albums and never came out, and they weren't coming out. So people started to, because I was still getting better at writing, people started to want to hire me as a writer for their music.
How did people get wind of that?
Because really, man, I don't know how to sing. Like, I had to figure out myself too. Like, if I can't sing, how's my song like as big as Lady Gaga's song that I recorded in my dorm room? Like, how is that happening? It's because I'm a good writer. I'm good at that.
Got it. Yeah, I feel
Right?
that. Yeah, totally.
I'm a good writer. And so I started had these songs, like, for these albums that weren't coming out. So I started giving them to other artists. So
The songs that you had already put on these like 2 albums.
they
that
were
weren't going
these
out.
2 albums that were just on my laptop.
Yeah.
So it's like, look, better if someone else sing them than
They just shelved.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's how we got Boyfriend for Justin Bieber. Was a song I helped write. That's how we got Sugar from Maroon 5.
That's
Was a song
Wow, I
that was off
choreographed
of those
that song.
albums.
You wrote Sugar?
Yeah. Well, it was other
crazy.
people. I wrote it with some friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wrote it.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I started to be successful like that. I had this dream. I still had this dream. Like, I felt like I wasn't done as an artist. Like, everyone thought I was done though. Like, everyone. It was over. And even I kind of thought it was done. And I had this belief, like this narrative in my head, like you're not an artist. Like, you were an artist and you kind of like failed, or like you were a one-hit wonder. And my first step was I started to try to change that in my own head. So I wake up and I would meditate, and I'd go on a walk. And while I was walking, just in my head, silent, not out loud, in my head, I say, I, Mike Posner, will win the Grammy for Album of the Year. I, Mike Posner, will win the Grammy for Album of the Year. I, Mike Posner, will win the Grammy for Album of the Year. I say it 15 times every day. At first, I felt like I'm an idiot. After like a month, I'm like, I'm going to win the fucking Grammy for Album of the Year. So I believe it myself. Mind you, I'm still signed on the old label. I'm still shelved, all the things. So I was just making a list. What's all the stuff I have to do to go from here to win the Grammy for Album of the Year, right? So first thing I had to do, I had to get off this label. I got to get them to drop me. So my lawyer, I'm like, call him like, yo, can you get them to drop me, please? So we're just asking, you know. But like, that's their last priority. They're worried about like the shit they have popping over there at the time. So they actually agreed to it. But it took a lot of time to actually get them to go through, just following up every day. Like, what's going on? Can they drop me? Can they drop me? Please, 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 please. Finally got off the label. Then it was like, I got to find a new manager. I had parted ways with my manager, and like, I didn't have the right people around me. So I was searching. I finally found the right management team. Then it was like, I got to write great songs. You know, so I was writing songs every day. And I was in the studio one night with this guy, country artist named Jake Owen. And we were passing the guitar back and forth. So that means I'm playing a song on the guitar. Then I pass the guitar to him. He plays a song. He passes it back. I play him a song. And he said, Mike, what's that song you just played? What's that about? I said, that's a song about like a girl I had a thing with in New York.
Please don't go.
No, it is after Please Don't Go. And then I said, a girl I had a thing with in New York. And something I just made up. And he goes, well, why don't you just tell the truth? Why would you make something up? Why don't you tell the truth? And it just like hit me in my soul. So at night, I had a long flight. I was going overseas. I got on the flight. And I had my notebook. Ideas start coming out here. Like, I took a pill in Ibiza to show Avicii I was cool. And when I finally got sober, felt 10 years older. Oh, fuck it, it was something to do. I'm living out in LA. I drive a sports car just to prove I'm a real big baller, cause I made $1 million and I spend it on girls and shoes. But you don't want to be high like me. Just come through.
Wow.
So now I had this song, right? And I'm like, what do I gotta do next? Going back to my list. You know, it's like, well, I want to be able to play that thing. I gotta play that thing on Jimmy Fallon. Remember, like, I didn't know how to play guitar a couple years ago. So I'm like, I'm gonna play a thing on guitar on Jimmy Fallon. And I'm gonna kill it. So, and I'm like, this song, someone did a remix. These guys in Norway did a remix of the song. Started like, I was just like, still just sharpening my sword, going down my list. You know, I had a big beard at the time. I was like living in my van, like just trying to. My manager calls. He's like, "Yo, man, this song is #1 in Norway." I'm like, "Uh-oh, it's happening," you know. Then there's like, yo, it's #1 in Sweden. So I sat my family down. I'm like, guys, I don't know for sure, but it's look like I'm having another big hit song. Like when it comes to America, it's coming. So like another thing on my list, like on the way, you have to have a song like people actually hear. You know, like it makes people. You make a great album, no one hears. You know, like it's hard to win that Grammy. Right?
Totally.
Unfortunately. So that's another discussion, but right.
You sure you only got an hour, man?
I know.
Well, I'm so curious, man. I mean, I know we're just kind of sitting here, just listening to your stories, and it's amazing.
I'm sorry, you asked one question.
No, I love it. We're opening up the road for you. But you mentioned, you know, because in my question all the time is like, what is that thing that flips the switch in someone's mind to be like, I need to switch something up, like. I don't like what's happening in my life right now, or I don't like how things are going. Something needs to change. And then you decided, I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go on these walks. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to just repeat this phrase over in my head 15 times. Was that something that you just kind of came up with yourself? Did somebody encourage you to do things like that? Like, where did you learn to find something like that to be the thing that broke
Yeah.
the rhythm of what
Well,
you were doing?
it's a book Big Sean gave me actually, called Asking It Is Given. And one of the things he says in that book, which I think is so profound, it says, a belief is a thought repeated over time. A belief is a thought repeated over time. That's all belief is.
Mm-hmm.
So you think a different thought, but repeat that thought. Because remember, I had the thought like, my career is over. I'm a one-hit wonder. That was a thought I'd been thinking for like years.
Yeah.
So I had to think a new thought to like replace that and think it so much, repeat it so much over time. This became my new belief. So then that question is like, well, why do you care what your beliefs are? Well, I think, I don't have proof for this, but I have some anecdotal evidence from my own life.
Yeah.
I think you get what you believe in your life.
Wow.
You know, like you think you're a one-hit wonder and your career's over, you're gonna get more of you're a one-hit wonder and your career's over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're gonna win the Grammy, then you're gonna get that. And just your interpretation of things that happen in your day-to-day changes. You know, when I have this more like empowered mindset, things that maybe would have looked like a waste of time, man, fuck that, it's not gonna work out. I'm not gonna do that. They start to look like, oh, maybe that's like the thing that leads to, you start to feel like you're on this adventure, this journey, and you're like, you go for each one of those. And so you can see in like a very non woo way how that may like elicit a real difference, like a real set of different outcomes for you, set of better outcomes that are more aligned with that new belief.
So with that like repeated thought or the repeated phrase in your head, because as you mentioned, it's not this magic phrase that you throw out there and somehow it just falls into your lap. Like that way that you think and it changes your belief from I'm a one-hit wonder to I'm gonna win a Grammy. What sort of I guess changes like physically or actually like real tangible changes did you see happening? Because I mean we've talked about this on this pod like many times, where focus goes, energy flows, right? Anything that you think about all the time. If you're thinking about Teslas all the time, you're gonna just see a bunch of Teslas driving around, right?
Yeah.
Because you're looking for it.
Yeah.
And so for you to think, okay, one hit wonder, meaning I'm actually not motivated to write because why would I? I'm a one hit wonder. Like that part of my life is done. But now that you change the narrative, it's like, no, I'm gonna win a Grammy. I'm gonna play this song on a guitar on Jimmy Fallon. Then you're gonna start making actual moves so that can become a reality, right? So can you talk a little bit about like how you took that sort of manifesting thought and how did that actually become reality?
Yeah, you're right, man. Like you just sit in your bedroom and like make vision boards and like then you just have a bunch of pictures on your wall, right?
And just
like,
hope for something to magically happen without putting in the work.
Like that, like the work starts to feel a little more fun. Starts to feel like an adventure. Like you're the universe is pulling you towards something beautiful. So then, like, yeah, man. Like, how did I went to play Jimmy Fallon. I had another like belief like that in my head, which was I suck at TV performances. Because when I had Cooler Than Me, my first time doing promo, I really didn't know how to sing, man. Like I told you, I've just been rapping, and I just started adding melody to my stuff, and the song blew up. Now they're like, okay, action, go. I'm on live TV. I'm like, dog, when I recorded this song, I was just singing one line at a time, like 100 times to get it right. Like I hadn't even sung my song through. Like I didn't know what I was doing.
Dang.
And so of course, like I never like bombed, but I never did great on TV. So I was like, in my head, I thought, I'm not good at TV. But that was another one. I started in my notebook just writing. I love playing on TV. And I played Fallon before with Cooler Than Me. So I was like going through my head, man, like just doing this show a million times in my head. But then like going back to your question, I also practiced the song a million times.
Yeah.
And I didn't even practice. I tried to emulate how it's going to feel. I was like, I know I'm going to be nervous on TV. So then I go run down the block. Like I had a big hill. I go down the hill, up, down the hill, back again. I'm breathing like this. Pick up the guitar, play the song. Because that's how it feels when you're nervous.
Right.
That's how it feels when you're nervous.
Yeah, totally.
Your heart's beating faster. Yeah. You're more out of breath.
Yep.
So, okay, I don't play a song. That's how I practice the song now.
That's crazy.
Dang, you like freaking Rocky Balboa with your training right now,
No,
dude.
I just want to do good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just want to do well.
There's definitely some magic. I mean, it's the way you tell it is very, very awesome and humble, but you're magical at the same time. Like for you to have that mentality where you're like, I'm gonna flip the switch on this. People have been like shelving 2 of my albums. Like there's a lot of energy coming your way that can put many weaker minds in a certain space, but there's a simplicity and a brilliance to the way that you just chose to flip that for yourself. You know what I mean? I just want to acknowledge how powerful that is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's not magic though. It's not magic. Yeah. That's why I really start off with like I was lost. I was lost. So it's like anyone can do this. And it's not, you're not going to be having the same dreams as me. It's not going to be win a Grammy or play film or whatever. But it's whatever your dreams are. Yeah. Right? So, but it's not magic. It's not magic at all. It's like anyone can change their own mind.
I love that.
Anyone, like, you know what I mean? So that's important. I appreciate it's magical, but it's not unique to me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, the specifics of your choices, I'm like, whoa, but I feel that for sure.
Yeah, it's not. It's anyone has this power. Your mind is your, like, you have sovereignty over your own mind. Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, man, this song started blow up, and my manager called like, yo, Fallon wants to have you on. I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. But guys, when I got to Fallon to play the song, it was like I already been there, I already did it. It felt like it was done. It felt like it was done. Like I killed this show already. Cause I'd done it in my head 1,000,000 times.
That's amazing.
I went out there, ripped it, man. It felt so good. I was
so sick.
I don't suck at TV, man. Like, wow, you know what I mean? Whole crowd was singing the thing. Like I hit my notes, like, and I was playing the guitar.
Yeah.
The whole song, it was like so cool. It was so cool. And the song was like, kept getting more and more popular. And they got nominated for a Grammy. Not album of the year, song of the year. I'm like, oh, universe works a different way. So all the stuff I had on my list start happening. Label dropped me, check. Got a new manager, check. Played Fallon, check. Killed it. Got nominated for a Grammy, check. All I gotta do is win the Grammy, right? So I went to the Grammys. I didn't win. Adele won the Grammy.
She's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's the same thing. Like you can interpret that like a million different ways. Like I didn't win. Oh, maybe this was all BS. This whole thing, like it wasn't meant to be or whatever. Nah, that Grammy's on its way, man. I'm still gonna win that Grammy.
Yeah,
you know, it's definitely gonna happen. But it always comes in a way you don't expect.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another thing I learned is like you could set the intention, but the path that the universe gonna give you there is not what you think it's gonna be. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like I thought I was gonna write this beautiful song, like this ballad would like blow up. Nah, it's like these guys in Norway they remixed it and it was like a club banger. I was like, what? How'd that happen? You know, and like
it was a hard club. Yeah, the C remix, that's a hard one. Yeah,
they did a great job, you know. But it was like I didn't even really listen to it, honestly. They sent it to me like, is it cool if the label was like, cool, get a remix? And I was like, of course. Like I came up remixing and sampling. I'm like, I understand the ethos of that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they said, I was like, can we put this out? I listened to it once, but I was like I was living in my van at the time. I was listening to Dylan and like going deep on like old country, like Merle Haggard. I was like, yeah, it's cool, put it out. I didn't really listen to it. And that's all I was like, anyways, all that to say is just like, it's never in the way you think.
Yeah.
It's never in the way you think. And a lot of times for me is when I let go of it, it comes back. I'm like, oh, I forgot this was my dream, but now it happened, you know? If that makes sense.
No, that's powerful.
Were you always like a driven, sort of ambitious type of person even as a kid? Or did you find that later in life?
No, I was always like real competitive. Yeah. Always want to like do really well. Mm-hmm. I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, like, it seems like, you know,
once you want to get like all A's, everything, you know.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, one older sister.
She amazing?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, she's pretty
Yeah.
good, man.
That's what I'm saying.
She's
Yeah.
more interesting than me, I think. Yeah.
So, I mean, you being able to apply the way that you've always been, competitive, sort of a perfectionist, never a stranger to putting in the work, whether that's in school or whether that's in your music and things like that. And so through the challenges that you face, because I know that there was kind of, as you even talking about, like a period where you weren't really putting out music, and you kind of went through some personal challenges and things like that. You decided to walk across America on a whim in 2019. Can you talk a little bit about like that sort of season in your life where things weren't maybe going the way that you thought, and then you thought maybe I got to switch it up, maybe I got to walk across the country? Like how does that even come about?
Sure. And sometimes this is like a preface, like a warning. Like sometimes people get inspired by the story I'm about to tell. But sometimes we don't have to go on a walk across America. Sometimes we need to take our mind on a walk across America and change that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes what we're doing externally is okay. But we need to change how we're doing it. You see what I'm saying? So that wasn't my path. I changed what I was doing externally. But I'll get to that. Essentially, I'm doing the same thing now that I was doing before I left. So, but everything's different on the inside. Okay, so what the hell am I talking about?
That was hella cryptic, but yes.
Hella cryptic. It'll make sense after I say it, man. So basically, yeah, man. I had this dream of walking across America. I just thought it was dope. I heard about someone else doing it. I was like, I'm gonna do that one day. And then I didn't. And I started to research like the walk across America. I got in touch with other people that had walked across America. I interviewed them, learned from them. I read the books that they had written. I did everything in regards to walking across America except walking across America. But I found out there's a strategy to it. You start in early spring and you try to be done before winter hits for obvious reasons.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So every time spring rolled around, there's something in the way. There was like a reason not to go. Like I had to finish my album, or I had to tour to support the last album, or there was a wedding. Like there was always something in the way. And I said, next year. And so the walk, like, I guess I'm challenging the frame of the question a little bit. Didn't necessarily come from something feeling wrong in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was a dream.
Wow.
Of like something beautiful to me. I thought it was beautiful that I wanted to do. But again, I didn't do it. 5 years, 1 year, 2 years, no walk. 3 years, 4 years, no walk. 5 years go by, no walk. Every year, something in the way, next year. And so my dad passed away. And then these guys I worked with, like my peers that like my age in the music industry, some of them started to die too. Avicii died. Mac Miller died. I started to think like, I'm going to die one day too. Everyone wants you to forget that, right? Why? Because if you forget you're going to die, you'll waste your precious time, like the most beautiful thing you have, beautiful gift you have in
100.
this life, doing what they want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Working for their company, make money to buy stuff that they want to sell you. You know what I mean? So it's the biggest secret in plain view, like you're going to die. I said, do you be in touch with this? Because these people around me were dying. I said, man, I'm going to die one day too. I hope not soon, but I'm going to die. But before that day comes, I want to live my life, like live. And so what I'm doing now is not living. I'm living like this script of what an artist does, which is like make album, go on tour, make an album, go on tour, make it out. And it's beautiful. Like making albums is beautiful and playing music is beautiful. That's you guys, like you make art. I make art too. So it's not to demonize what I was doing, but it wasn't necessarily my path, right? It was this script of what an artist does. I was just following it, right? And everyone in my life, my managers, all this stuff, the label, like they're invested in me doing this.
Totally.
But my soul is saying, do this, do something else, do this walk. And so I just had a decision, man. Like spring was coming. Next spring was coming. It's like you're either gonna live your life and do your walk, or you're gonna live this in this track of like some bullshit idea that was laid out for you that's not it's not your path. What's it gonna be? So I said, screw it, man. I'm going. I talked to my friend Elliot. I said, man, I'm not sure. Dude, I want to walk across America, but everyone thinks it's crazy. My manager thinks it's crazy. He goes, that's great news. I said, what do you mean? He said, you got to understand, not all crazy ideas are great, but all great ideas are crazy.
Ooh.
I felt the same way. It hit me. I was like, I'm going. Like March 1st, I'm going. This stuff. So I started like doing it. And same thing, man. Same way. Like instead of saying I'm gonna win the Grammy, I start saying I, Mike Posner, will walk across America. I, Mike Posner, will walk across America. I see myself doing. I started going deep with it. Even like so deep. I learned this from David Goggins. I start visualizing what I'm gonna do when it's hard. People love to visualize like but you can walk across America. Let's be real.
It's gonna get tough.
It's gonna.
Did you visualize getting bit by a snake?
No, but listen, I visualized.
He got bit by a snake. Context.
Yeah, I visualized what I'd do if I broke a leg. What are you gonna do if you break a leg? And I really got in that moment. I said, if I break a leg, I would go home and I'll heal, and I'll go back to the spot that my leg broke,
and finish it.
And I will finish walking across America.
Dang. That's it.
So, and things happened before I even left, dude. Like crazy stuff. I was at a party where I was the only sober person there. And it was like, we were outside by a pool. I had no shoes on. I walked into the leg of a chair and I broke my toe.
Oh.
And my leg's black and, I mean, not my leg, my foot's black and blue. It's like, fuck, man. Like,
what was this, February?
I don't remember. It's February exactly. Because that's my friend's birthday. And I was like, I'm supposed to walk across America in like, whatever, I can't remember, a few weeks or whatever. Yeah. Go to the doctor. He's like, dude, you got to let that heal. He's like, if you want any chance of making it, you have to let that heal. Like, if you start with that, he was like, I guarantee you won't make it. So I was like, all right. Like, great. So I listened to him, right? But I didn't let my dream die. So I said, and I already announced my walk, bro, on like social media. I said, I'm walking across America, March 1st, all this stuff. I had to go on social media like, I am not walking across America on March 1st, but I'm still doing it. Stay tuned. Anyways, I ended up leaving on April 15th. I stood in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of New Jersey, 2 feet in the water, waves crashing over my back. I took my first step. Step one is take one step. Step one is take one step. I walked across the lush fields of New Jersey, walked across Pennsylvania where I shared the road with Amish buggies and saw coal country. I walked across Ohio. I walked across Indiana. I developed excruciating foot pain, plantar fascia, like everything. Like I could barely stand up in the morning, but I kept going. I walked across Indiana, Illinois, Missouri during a heat wave where I stopped wearing my shorts, just wearing my signature white tights. And people would say like, man, you can't wear those. Those are like underwear, but it was hot, like really hot.
Yeah.
And I say it's like the humid brand of hot where the weatherman goes on TV and says, don't go outside today. I'm going to go outside and walk 24 miles in that hot.
Was that your pacing, like 24 miles a day?
Yeah, I built up to that. I started with like 10, but I built up to where I could do 24
Trail out
every
here.
day. Further, right? Like I'm going from all the way. So I walked across Missouri. I walked into Colorado. I'd walked 1,797 miles since my first step. I could just see the Rocky Mountains on the horizon. It's like emotional, right? I'm looking at it. I'm taking my next step. This pain shoots up my leg. I'm like, what the heck was that, man? Like, this crazy pain up from my ankle and my leg. And then I heard a sound I didn't want to hear. It's like, shh.
Oh.
And I realized a poisonous rattlesnake just bit me. And it was like Looney Tunes. You ever seen Looney Tunes? At the end it says, that's all, folks.
Yeah.
It goes like this. It was like that on my awareness.
Oh, dang. Just blacked out, like
black.
fainted.
I would kind of go away and then I'd come back like this. And there was 2 fans with me that day. It's because I said online, if you find me, you can walk with me. So people could come from all over America walk with me. So it's
Awesome.
2 guys there that day. They called 911. They let me talk to dispatch. She said, "Sir, I sent an ambulance from 2 different directions. So 2 ambulances and a chopper. Whatever gets there first, get in." I said, "Okay." And I said, "Am I going to die?" She said, "I don't know, sir." So I ended up being in the ICU 3 nights. My legs swells to like the size of an elephant trunk. And I go from walking 24 miles every day to I can't walk to the bathroom without a nurse and a walker. But remember my visualization, right? If I break my leg, I'm gonna go back. So my decision was made. You know, like I'm gonna do what they say. I'm gonna heal. I'm gonna listen to a doctor. I'm not gonna be stupid. But once I'm ready, I'm going back to that spot. So I end up being in the ICU 3 nights, hospital 5. Then I had to go home and just heal. Like I still had crutches and a walker and do PT and just like make sure I was learning to walk again like the right way with that foot. And after like 21 days, I was like, "Dog, this is like better." Like, wow, like, whoa. And Eli was helping take care of me, by the way. When I
Shout
went
out
home,
Eli.
yeah, he picked me up from the airport. He took care of me. But this was the hardest, actually, like one of the hardest parts of the walk was not the getting bit by a snake, was getting better from the snake bite. Because while I was hurt, even though like this leg was in like really bad pain and I couldn't really walk, I was in air conditioning. I was in bed, like a real bed. I didn't have to be outside all day in sweltering heat. People were cooking for me, taking care of me, coddling me. John Mayer's DMing me, like wishing me, you know, heal fast, brother. I'm in this nest of cuddly softness. And like I said, after 21 days, like, it's better. So I got a decision, like, go back out to hell, excruciating foot pain, sweltering heat, snake riddled shoulders, the Colorado 10, or stay here in this nest. So you could be comfortable where I am, or I could be like the man I dream to be, like and live the life of my dreams, like the superhero badass version of Mike Posner, where that motherfucker goes back to where the snake bit me and he takes a step. So it was hard, but because I had this amazing reason to quit, like people wouldn't even really think you were a quitter. That's how good that reason was.
Yeah.
But
that's a good excuse, right?
But it's that you said it. It's an excuse. It's an excuse. And we say that a lot, right? It wasn't meant to be. And what do we usually mean when we say it wasn't meant to be? I'm giving up. 9 times out of 10, it wasn't meant to be. I'm giving up. I wasn't giving up. So I went back to the spot. The snake bit me. I took a step. I kept taking steps, walked up and over those Rocky Mountains. I started to dream, big dream. My white tights felt like an invincibility cloak, man, after that. Like snake up and over the mountains. I started to dream like I could do anything. Like maybe I'll climb Everest after this, but I had to stay focused. I kept walking, walked across Colorado, kept taking steps. I walked across Navajo Nation, kept taking steps, walked across Arizona, kept taking steps, across Nevada, kept taking steps, into California. People start texting me, "Congrats, you did it." I'm like, "What the fuck you talking about? I have 300 miles to go. I have Mojave Desert, San Bernardino Mountains, just rattlesnakes all over here." Like, I know they meant well, but like in the state I was in, like, what the fuck? I was like, don't fucking tell me that. I'm not done. My goal wasn't to walk to California. I walked to the ocean. So I kept taking steps, walked across Mojave Desert, kept taking steps, walked into LA, kept taking steps, Hollywood signs on my right, kept taking steps. Pavement turns into sand, Venice Beach, kept taking steps, walk turns into a sprint. After 6 months, 3 days, 2,851 miles, I dive into that ocean. And I thought I would feel like accomplished, like I was done. it didn't feel like I finished something. It felt like I was beginning something. I say beginnings hide themselves in ends. Beginnings hide themselves in ends. And so that dream of Mount Everest that I had in the mountains, like it just started to slowly transform from a dream into a plan.
So you didn't have a dream about Mount Everest until you were crossing the Rocky Mountains?
I think a lot of people dream about Everest, but after I did the Rocky Mountains, I was like, I could really do that. I really do that. And I got no misconception of how hard it will be. It will be the hardest thing I do in my life. But look what I just did. Look what I'm doing right now. So there's a momentum to this stuff. There's a momentum to this stuff, man. It's like I don't go from 0 to Everest. There's all these little steps between of like hard work, discipline, visualization that like just build on one another. Where you still like, wow, if I could do that, what else could I do? Then I did that thing. If I did that, what else could I do? Then I did that thing. And it just builds, snowball. And like a lot of people don't understand, because I didn't announce it right away, I really wanted to research it because my word's important to me. So I really want like understand like the risk and everything. Because if I commit to climb Everest, I'm gonna climb Everest. I'm gonna do it. So, but all that to say, I started training 2 weeks later. My body was jacked up, man. Like it was really messed up.
So you literally finished 6 months of walking across America, and 2 weeks later you started training for Everest?
Yeah, and I was still messed up. Like physically. And just like if I sat down like this and I stood up, it just hurt, bro. It felt like I was 100 years old. And I didn't know. I thought maybe that's how I was gonna feel the rest of my life, because of all how far I had walked. I didn't know, but I was like, I'm not like. There's more. I started to walk. I thought there's a little more in here, but by the end, I was like, I'm wrong. It's a lot more there, because I didn't like crawl into the ocean. I sprinted into the ocean.
Yeah.
What else can I do? So anyway, yeah, I started training, climbing mountains. I didn't want to go back. I didn't want to go back to like that nest, that sandbox.
Yeah.
So I met the guy who became my coach, Dr. John. He had done 4 Everest expeditions. He got a great line. He said, train for climbing mountains by climbing mountains.
Yeah.
Isn't that a great line?
Yeah.
Train for climbing mountains by climbing mountains. So that's what we did. We made a plan to say, I'm going to climb Everest in 1.5 years from now. That was my goal. I'm going to summit Everest safely. Yeah, so to be more clear, my goal was to summit and get down safely, not just summit. Right? It's important.
Yeah.
Many people, not many, but of the people that die on Everest, many of them summit and die on the way down. I had no interest in that. And I also have no interest in being one of these guys shows up there and it doesn't belong there. So I said, Coach, look. So I said to him, I want to go by the time I get there, I want to be a real mountaineer and I want to belong there. Otherwise, I don't want to go. He goes, I'm on the same page as you. If you're not a real mountaineer, you ain't going with me. Right? So I had to go from this guy sore from his walk, but I had no mountaineering experience. Never held the ice axe, never wore crampons, nothing, man. And it was really hard. I had to go from nothing. And the training was crazy. We climbed 71 mountains together. We like, my life was on the line just in the training. Like we do stuff like fall you die.
Yeah.
Look at like I finished some of these climbs like this, man. Like
Jeez.
It's really hard. And I finished some of that training just weeping. Like, bro, this is so hard. But after a year and a half, we went to Nepal after we climbed those 71 mountains, try to climb our 72nd, tallest one in the world, Mount Everest, man. And like a lot of people do like the trek to Everest base camp. We were going to base camp, going to fucking summit.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to summit. So people come up to me like, yo, my cousin's friend did Everest. I'm like they backpacked to base camp. That's where we, it's different.
Yeah, it's different.
It's beautiful. Like I wish everyone in the world could go to like do that hike to base camp, but it's different. So we got there, and the way Everest works, you can't just get there and climb the mountain and you die. It's too high.
Yeah.
Because the air is so thin. It's 29,035 feet. It's like the height that jets fly at. So you have to do what's called acclimatization rounds. Go up a little bit, go to camp 2. Maybe you go to touch camp 3, and you come down. You let your body build more red blood cells and help adjust. Doesn't make it easy, makes it possible. And just being at Everest was like horrible for me. Just being at base camp. Base camp's at 17,300 feet. You just start to feel like you're falling apart, man. Like start like not being able to remember names and like cities and song titles and take a couple steps. I was in freaking killer shape by then, but that altitude is something else.
Yeah.
Something else. You know, so like you get up to walk to the bathroom, you're like head just pounding, like horrible headaches. You know, sleep at night and wake up like that. Your body thinks it's like underwater pretty much.
Wow.
Because it's just not a lot of air.
Are you sleeping with like oxygen tanks and stuff?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Put them up higher. So we were doing that acclimatization round. We went up to camp 2 and we touched camp 3. We came down and a lot of it's waiting. Wait for the weather. And it's such a trip mentally because everyone around you's climbing Everest. All anyone talks about every day, like for months. You're there. And each day you get reports from the meteorologists, a couple different ones, and they always vary a little bit. And then, you know, people think like someone comes up to you and says, like, this is your day to climb. It's not how it works.
Yeah.
Me and coach are looking at the weather and making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
That decision has our life.
And your decision might not be the same as somebody else who's
That's
trekking
exactly
that too.
right. So we decide, like, usually the weather gets really good at end of May. We're sitting there, like, there was some good weather May at 10th, 11th. A lot of people decide to go. We decide not to. We said this day is good. We think it's gonna get better, right? We stay. Always people go up. Like a couple hundred people went up, and most of them summited. And you start to feel jealous because it sucks being at Everest. It hurts. You know, they get to go home, man. It's that FOMO. Like, I wish we went. Maybe we made the wrong decision.
That's a crazy FOMO to feel.
Crazy FOMO. But then you hear about all these summits, but then that's halfway, right? Like we just talked about. You gotta get down. Summit's halfway. So then you start hearing they come down, most people, but a couple people don't come back.
Wow.
Dead. So then that elicits a whole other emotional reaction, which is like, I even want to do this, man. A lot of doubt just to come up. And I thought about quitting before we even started. It's crazy, man. It's a crazy place. Decided to climb. So we left base camp around midnight, and we knew it was like we knew it was gonna be we were gonna climb in a storm up to camp 2, because we knew when that storm ended, there's gonna be a good weather window. We want to be in position to hit the summit that window. So we went in this storm, got to camp 2, and it snowed a lot. In camp 2, like, I don't really sleep there. It's just not enough air. Like, my body's doing that thing. And every time, so it's like I'm just sitting there. And in mountains, when it snows a lot, you don't go on steep faces. Why? Avalanches. So if it snows a lot, you wait a few days, let the snow settle in. So we're at camp 2, we're just waiting, but basically like falling apart, man. Like not sleeping. It's not enough air, like horrible. I'm probably at about 15% there. 15%. And I'm going to sleep one night in the tent, just laying there next to John, like pretending I'm asleep. I'm not. It's like my second or third night there. It's like falling apart. All of a sudden, the tent starts to shake crazy. Like this tent rips open, snow hits, starts hitting my face, filling up my sleeping bag. John, avalanche, avalanche, avalanche. In my head, I'm like, this is the end of my life. I'm dead. So avalanche hit you, nothing you could do. It was horrible. It was like the worst feeling of my whole life, man. Like I'm dead. It's over. I'm down at Camp 2 on Everest. Then all of a sudden, John avalanche just stopped. Like my hands were like this, shaking. I'm like, what happened? Basically, this avalanche had slid, but it stopped right before our camp. So what hit us was like the air displacement, the avalanche's final breath hit us.
Wow.
Which is still like incredibly dangerous and can kill you. We were lucky. But we really had time to feel sorry for ourselves. We had to go. So like a few hours after that, we used to go to Camp 3. We went to Camp 3. That's when I put on oxygen. And the next day you go to Camp 4. So it's like each of these days are like marathons, man. And marathons where you like don't sleep that night. So you go to camp. Then we go to Camp 4. Another like 10 or 11 hour day going, climbing. Again, now it's like 11 in the morning and it's like 6. At 6 p.m. you got to start getting ready to go for the summit, which is a 17-hour day. So it's like it's just stringing these like marathons, probably worse than a marathon, together with no recovery, not sleep, like horrible. And you hear all stories like people get frostbite and stuff. So we left Camp 4. Camp 4 is the highest camp, then the summit. So we left Camp 4 to try to go to summit. Above Camp 4 is what's called the death zone. Well, it's called the death zone because
That's inspiring.
yeah, it's just like the human body can't survive there.
Yeah.
So you go up there, you're dying. You only got a certain amount of time you could be up there. So we start going. And you hear stories about like frostbite. So I have all my layers on and whatnot. I start going. I'm like, dog, I'm too hot. I'm sweating, which is like a big deal in mountains, especially when it's on Everest. On the summit, be like -15, -20. If you're wet, sweating, it can freeze and it's bad news.
Yeah.
So like heat regulation is a huge part of high altitude mountaineering. So you want to be like, you obviously don't want to be cold, but you don't want to be sweating. You're going to be right in that zone. I was sweating. I'm like, fuck, I gotta stop. So I unzipped my big suit and I took a middle layer off, put it back on. Always people just start passing me. You always hear about the lines on Everest, right? It's too many people. So then we start going. There's all these people in front of me. And there's this natural resting place called the balcony. Everyone takes a break there. We start getting close to it. I said, John, we get to the balcony. Everyone's going to take a 10, 15 minute break. I go, let's take a 2-minute break and pass everybody. He's like, I'm with you. So we did exactly that, 2 minutes. And I was like, bro, I don't know. Something clicked in. Because I was really struggling, guys. Like when up to Camp 4, I ain't feel great. I felt like trash, honestly. But then someone hit me there. I started going like that. We left and it was like 4 guys ahead of me and then 2 headlamps like way up on the mountain. I was like, I don't even know who those people are. Are those even people? Because it's the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Right? You leave at 8 p.m. Start getting ready at 6, leave at 8, climb all through the night. You're aiming to get there around sunrise. So I'm like right behind these guys. And then it was me, John, and we had 2 local guides on our team. Dawa Dorje Sherpa and Dawa Chering Sherpa. Dawa Chering catch up to me. We were climbing behind these guys, just kind of matching their pace, kind of drafting off them. It's not really drafted, but you like to think that you're going pretty slow. Everest pace pretty slow, but it feels fast, you know. And I said, Dawa, let's pass these guys, man. So, and pass people is like a little dangerous because there's only one rope.
Yeah.
One rope. So you can pass them, but you got to get off the rope, go around them off the rope, and you clip back in. We passed those guys, start going, get up to like the second summit, South Summit, and then we started to see those lights, those ones that were like way ahead. They're like, oh, they're right there. I get up. It's my friend Eric's from base camp. I'm like, bro, he's like in this like snow cave, like on the shoulder. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, bro? He's not moving. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, this guy was late for everything, bro. Like breakfast, he'd be late. Lunch, he'd be late. Like we'd have little like check-ins with like safety and gear stuff. He'd be late every day, like for months. He's late to every single thing. He was like, I'm too early, bro. Because the point is you don't want to get to the summit in the dark. Right? Because you want to get there in the dark. He's like, I'm too early. I'm like, shit, man, am I too early? So John catches up to me. He's like, no, bro, let's go now. He said, we go now, we hit it perfect. So we pass them, we go. So people talk about the lines on Everest. We were first. That day we were first. And it's not a race. People leave at all different time, whatever. But it's pretty cool to go up there. We were first.
Yeah, nobody else is there at that time.
Just beautiful to be walking up with no one in front of you, man. Unreal. So after all that, like pain, that close call with the Avalanche, like that training where I felt like my life was on the line, like on June 1st, just not even a year ago, June 1st, 4:35 a.m., John was right, sun's rising, and Mike Posner flopped onto the summit of Mount Everest. And I wept. And we got this video of it. John's crying, I'm crying. And I don't remember, it's all kind of a blur, but in the video I go, this took everything. And it did. And we did like, this is like one of the most beautiful moments of my life. People realize mountains have shadows. Of course a mountain has a shadow, but like when you're on the summit of a mountain, like Mount Everest, and the sun rises, it's a shadow, like a big shadow, like a shadow that's like hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like going into China, like hundreds and hundreds of miles. This beautiful pyramid, and it's just, I can't explain what it's like to look at that. Felt like the universe itself was like cradling me in her bosom. And you look at these guys on your team, and I knew Everest was gonna change my life, but I didn't know how. I thought it was gonna make me proud. Like I did it. Made me humble, made me grateful. I look in the eyes of Dawa and John. It's like, I'm only here because of you guys. Not in the like LA making my gratitude list kind of way. Like, nah, these guys, like I was the weakest guy on that team. Of those 4 guys, I'm the only guy that hasn't already summited Everest multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm the weakest guy on that team. Like I was there because of them. If I ain't had them, I wouldn't have made it. So you just filled up with gratitude, man. I can't explain the emotion of looking someone else in the eye.
After having gone through the most difficult thing that you've ever done in your life.
Yeah, and being there together at that place it's life changing.
That's incredible, man.
But like I said, we're only halfway. So the thing that makes Everest so dangerous, one is the altitude. So like you're in this zone that's like a ticking time bomb. But the real thing I gotta illustrate is like you never this tired in your life before. And I'd already done these crazy things. Like my training was crazy. I'd walked across America. That was the most tired. And you're so dehydrated, so sleep deprived. So you're feeling something in your body you've never felt before. Like a tired that I never felt before. And above Camp 2, like where that avalanche was, there's no rescue. That's what's hard to explain to people. Like they say, well, if you get tired, like they come get you. No, that doesn't. You get yourself down or you don't come down.
Wow.
Period. The helicopter can't go that high.
Mm-hmm.
Choppers can't go to 25, 26, 28, 29,000 feet. There's no rescue. So you do something small, like you twist your ankle, break an ankle, you bang your knee. Like if you can't get yourself down, you don't come down.
That's crazy.
So each step, there's like 2 things. It's like 1, I want to be real careful. 2, do I have enough in the gas tank? And I have to know, like, there's a voice in you that says, turn around, this sucks, because it hurts. Like, it's just horrible. And then there's like, that's like the bitch voice, right? That we all have. So usually like, we don't listen to that. But then like, separate from the bitch voice is like voice of reason, which you need on mountains, which is like, I should turn around here, or I don't have enough gas. And so like it's very hard to sometimes, those voices have a similar,
They'll say the same thing, but they have different things.
they have a similar texture, a similar tone, you know. So that's exhausting in itself, each step, trying to suss out. And you don't ever really know if you're doing the right thing. You know, like if you make it down, you did. So it's really hard, man. And as we coming down, like I remember we're between Camp 4 and Camp 3 on the descent, and there were these Sherpa, a team of 4 Sherpa, and they were trying to bring down a corpse of someone that died like a week before. And it just struck me like what a privilege it is to be a living human being. So that's why I'm like, the points I made at the beginning of the story like an hour ago, which were cryptic, which are sometimes you don't need to change the external, sometimes you need to change the internal. So I made it off that mountain with my life and my fingers and my toes and my nose. I'm alive. And now I essentially am doing the same exact things I was doing before I left for my walk. I'm focused on music. And it's like, how like, how does the story end where it began? Is because the way all those things changed my life was it just left me with the appreciation for being here. And that doesn't mean I don't work hard. I work real hard. Doesn't mean I won't work out. I work out real hard. It just means I'm sharing my gift. My gift is music. And I intend to like share and inspire, shine my light as bright as I can till it's time for it to go out. And my friend Nate Mercer, he said, well, I had this line in my song. It says, there'll be more than camping gear to unpack. Sometimes you have to go there just so you could come back. And, you know, like, I think about myself in high school. Somebody asked me, I did like a TikTok live today. Somebody asked me this question, like, did you ever dream you would be where you are at now? I thought about it, man. It's like when I was a teenager, my dreams weren't even this big.
This is the most silent we've been in the entire podcast.
I don't even have words, man. Yeah. I want to just keep receiving more from you. I've never been this silent. I'm literally dumbfounded right now, man.
I'm a little emotional too, but it's like I really look at my life, bro. Like my life is bigger than my dreams were. And that's you can't pay money for that, man.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like here Anthony and I were talking before you got here, like, oh man, yeah, we're stoked, Mike Posner's had such a impact on our lives as dancers and as creatives, and we're talking about the catalog of music, and we like, oh yeah, this guy walked across America, like, and yeah, he climbed Mount Everest, like, yeah, we'll talk about that too. But it's more just like, wait a second, I don't think I was ready for this, you know what I mean? And man, and I feel like the life that you are living it's way beyond what the normal person would even be able to even talk about, let alone have experienced to such lengths. And I mean, as you talk about the power of the mind, bro, I mean, I think that's like an understatement when or maybe it's not, I mean, maybe it's exactly what you said, but like the way that you have learned to take this and take that first and then make your body follow. But then, as you said, it's not like just because you decide you could just go tomorrow and climb Mount Everest. You have to put in the work and the training, and then ultimately, like, for you to sit on the top of that place and then just feel a deep sense of gratitude and humility and a deep appreciation for everything that you have to be alive to now sit here across from us and tell these stories. Talk about having big dreams, man. Like, I don't even really know what to say. This is on some superhuman type stuff, you know what I mean? And like, I'm just taken aback, man. And the appreciation is, again, it's an understatement. I'm just receiving so much from you, man. And you're speaking, I think Anthony and we talk about, sort of deeper existential life things all the time too. Yeah, we're like older in our age and we've been doing this thing for a long time. And, it's been taking a huge chunk of our lives. And then it's like, okay, like what's next? Like, well, what else is possible? And then I talked to somebody like, he was like, well, what do you want to be possible and make it happen? You know what I mean? And it's just, one, it's so encouraging and so inspiring. Again, I just feel like I don't have even the right words to even say what it actually is, but it's incredible, man. It's incredible.
I'm very thankful that you're also very extremely a very good storyteller.
Yes.
Thanks.
Very good, because like people can do amazing things, but if they don't have the ability to articulate, then that's sometimes where the inspiration might not be shared. You know what I mean? But like of all the adventures and all the things that you've partaken in and just accomplished for yourself, beyond the accomplishment of the doing, there's something that, in your words and the way that you're able to like, transcribe that into a shareable conversation even. And this, like, low-key, I'm like, this is why we did the podcast this entire season. I'm like, every single podcast could lead up to like this story, because maybe that's what we're also, searching for as well. We're not sitting here trying to just like, shout out to the fans, but share everything, just with fans. We're also seeking ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We're here trying to like connect with people and learn something about them in order to find something else new about ourselves. But I got to say, this is probably the most inspiring and impactful podcast I've ever been a part of, because I just sat here and I didn't say shit.
I couldn't.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
I don't have
crap.
anything to say.
But it's also because, and again, we've gotten a chance to sit with people who have done amazing things, but I think just the why and the how anybody else can also like truly become their own superhero version of themselves is that's really what a lot of people need to understand and to find out, so I'm also in the same righteous way, just fully taken aback and just empowered by this entire experience right now.
Thank you, bro.
I know we're a little bit short on time too, and we kind of have like a lightning round that we normally do. But
let's do the lightning. How long?
You want to go lightning round? Okay, let's get into the
lightning round. Usually 5 minutes.
We're gonna try to be real lightning.
Okay, we'll go real lightning. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's your favorite Disney movie?
Oh, Moana. Is that Pixar? Disney? Does that count?
Disney.
No, that's still Disney. That's for
Moana
sure.
is fire, bro.
Yeah, I love that
music
movie.
is so good.
It's so
shiny,
good.
like the roses on the person's neck. Scrub the deck. Yeah, that song's crazy. That's what's his name from Hamilton. Lin
Samuel.
I can't see his name.
Lin-Manuel
Miranda.
Yeah,
why did I say Samuel?
Yeah, he did that music, man.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Who is your childhood hero?
I had a lot of them. Heroes is crazy, right? Because you don't really want to have heroes. You want to have inspirations that like you take pieces from, because everyone's flawed, right? Like there's parts of me too. People are going to be inspired by this, and like, look, I got some fucked up parts of me too, man. You don't want to copy this thing like verbatim, like take the good. There's some good parts too, right?
Yeah.
And I hope I shared some today. So like take those, but like, so all that to say, like people I looked up to when I was a kid, Nas, for sure. I really liked Dave Eggers, this author Dave Eggers. I liked like Kurt Cobain, Virginia Woolf, Outkast. There's a lot of art. I like
some
Paul
bangers
Simon,
right there. Yeah,
Paul
some hitters
Simon.
for sure.
Okay, so you just walked across America. You just summited Everest. What's next?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, since I got back, I had to stop. So the first thing I did, and this like we could do a whole other podcast, but like I spent 3 weeks in solitude when I got back. doing nothing, just meditating and reading holy books,
Jesus.
like in complete isolation. So I didn't see another person for 21 days. And I did that because I knew I needed to stop. Like we talked about it. Like I went walk, climb. Like it was one thing. I didn't unpack. Like people don't understand. Like it was, I went crazy, bro. Like it was, I really went for it. And so I was like, I don't know. I can do anything. But I don't want to just like go into something right away without like
Needing to unpack.
yeah. Man, because me, like, I'll do the thing. But if I set the direction wrong, I'll like really do the wrong thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the same way I went all the way, like I'll like go way over there. So like that calibration or like direction setting is real important for me, you know?
Yeah.
Like I will go there, I'll go there, you know? So I on that retreat decided I wanted to share the music that was still inside me. So my goals right now are musical, and they're not really athletic at all. Although like I train real hard and like I love being healthy and that's a part of my life. But yeah, I'm not really like risking my life like doing a wild athletic project at the moment. And
yeah, ice baths are enough for me. I'm already like, dang, I can't do that.
I love the ice bath. But yeah, man, like I don't really have plans to either. So I have a lot of goals in my life, a lot of them artistic, intellectual, spiritual. Those were like the big like athletic goals. You know? So that was the other thing too, like before the walk, I was like, we're getting a little older, man. If you're going to do those, like maybe strategically like do them first.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. If you could prescribe something to the world for someone to do once daily, what would that one thing be?
A Wim Hof method.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I became Wim Hof method instructor this year.
Dope.
Tight.
Yeah, so that was like kind of a goal I had after. I met Wim during my Everest training. The breath work helped me on the mountain, as well as the cold immersion helped me prepare for the mountain. All that to being said, the Wim Hof method is like also like a spiritual practice.
Yeah.
Like it's a health practice, but secret, it's a spiritual. Like at least for me, man, you know. And so yeah, that involves like cold exposure and breath work. And yeah, man, if people could do like even like either an ice bath or a cold shower, and also like 30-40 minutes of this breath work, which is like
30 to 40 minutes.
That's if you go deep. Like you can do it 20, you can do 15-20 minutes on a like daily basis. But this is my dream, right? So in my dream they do 30 or 40 minutes.
I love it. I did the YouTube version of Wim Hof.
Dude, this breath work, and actually I was thinking like I'd love to have the Kinjaz over and lead a Wim Hof workshop for you guys.
So down.
Yeah.
Like
already
times
there.
1 million.
Yeah.
Already
have
there.
you guys all breathing together. This breath work is like so powerful and profound. The first time I did it, I was like, wait a minute, what drug did I take? What my whole body was like tingling. I felt like my thinking mind had just sort of faded away. It was almost like a borderline psychedelic experience. My heart opened up. Like, I cried the first time I did it. It's really beautiful practice, man. So yeah, I'd love to share that with you guys, and that would be my thing. I'd have
Wim
people
Hof,
do.
all right.
We'll drive an hour out to you this time.
Yeah,
100%,
for sure.
100%. I can't wait to ask this question to you, man, because so we ask our guests this every episode, the concept of mastery, right? And most people will say, "Oh, I'm not a master of anything," right? Like I haven't mastered anything. But I think to some level, everyone has mastered something. Some are good, some are bad. Bruce Lee has a quote where he says, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times."
Yeah, fire.
What is something out of the crazy life that you've lived that you feel like you can kind of boil it down to as something that you feel like you mastered?
Well, I don't know, master it, because I'm still like uncovering a lot. But the thing I'd probably be closest to mastery at is just songwriting. I guess like, I don't know if you want to call it pop songwriting. Like I'm not writing like classical pieces, but writing songs like that usually have like a verse, pre-hook, a hook format.
Yeah, man.
I've done that like thousands and thousands of times. And most of them suck. But but yeah, that's probably the thing I'm like the best at of anything that I do.
What's your personal favorite one of everything you've written?
There's a new one. This is the one I was talking to Sean about.
Yeah.
Shout out Sean Liu.
Sean Liu.
Sean Liu.
There's a new one that I worked on with Zed. That's probably like my favorite one right now. But you know, like, isn't like your favorite piece like the last one you did always?
Yeah, that's the best goal. That's for sure. You know what I mean?
But usually, right?
But Eli, for example, always be coming up to me. He's like, "Yo, you should teach this old ass piece of mine." He's like, "This one's your banger." So he's always putting my mind back like 3 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's Eli. You know.
Yeah. So that's probably my favorite one right now.
That's dope. That's dope. Man, that's one thing. Like, I wasn't expecting that to be your answer, but I love it because I feel like that also just goes to show what you sort of value and most passionate about. And I think, you know, the thing that you naturally gravitate towards, the thing that you sort of like don't have to even think about, but like, yeah, I love that. That's the thing that I've spent most time doing. And you know, I can see you lighting up, you know, when you talk about your future stuff that you're working on right now currently.
That's why he's gonna get a Grammy for Album of the Year.
I know. I can't wait. Man.
It's always a way you don't expect, right? It'll be like some weird song I think sucks, you know.
That's about Kinjaz breathing at your spot.
Yeah.
I took a breath in Mike Posner's house. Anyways, that was terrible. I'm not a songwriter.
But man, dude, thank you so much for coming on. I echo what Ant said. This has definitely been one of, if not the most like impactful conversations I've ever had in my life, to be honest with you. This is crazy. And that's why I'm normally not really one to not have words, but I was sucked in, bro. And I know you have so much more and so many more layers to even, you know, where your head is at currently, but also just everything that you've literally accomplished in life, man. You've lived 20 lifetimes, man, and it's so inspiring. And just want to acknowledge, man, just even your willingness to open up that road and be as transparent and vulnerable, you know, in everything that you shared, man, because that stuff's real, and that itself I found to just be powerful. And you know, it gives me, somebody like myself, where, you know, I have all kinds of like, oh yeah, I just gotta, like, you know, believe it, and then it's like, oh, it's not happening yet. Am I tripping? You know, like, I thought it's supposed to happen by now. But like, just the depth that you can go shows me like, okay, there is room to grow in that. You know what I mean? So I think, bro, just wanted to acknowledge you and just thank you, man. Just thank you.
Absolutely.
And I gotta add too, like, you know, we've had some amazing people. Everybody's amazing who comes through the pod and stuff. But we were just talking about this before you came through. I was just showing these guys over 11 years ago. I choreographed to like "Please Don't Go." It's a terrible routine. It's terrible.
No, I bet it's fire.
No, it's really, it's cringy. Anyways,
it's be fire to me though.
Maybe, maybe. But the point is, there's such when you, especially as like a dancer, if I'm like choreographing to like somebody's music, that person's music, that person in some way, shape, or form has like touched a very vulnerable, deep part of myself. You know what I'm saying? It's not just like I just bumped to it and like freestyle to it at the club.
No, I know.
I had to like put energy, soul, thought, and heart into like putting things in and memorize every nuance of the sound. You know what I mean? The musicality.
Before that though, the way you listen, the way you guys listen to music is insane.
And that's what your music had done for me. You know
you'll
what I mean?
catch a little thing, and I'll see it in your body. And you're like, you know, most people don't hear that little thing in the background of the music. So that's a gift to have your music listened to with that depth.
I'm thankful you appreciate that for sure. But to have that and to already feel that, but then also to know, and again, we said this a couple times in the episode, but like shout out again, Eli and Coco, you know what I mean, who are our family and partners to us in life. You know what I'm saying? But like the way that they speak about you and your relationship and who you are as a person too, like that was just such a powerful thing. Again, even for me personally, to be like, yo, this dude has inspired me musically and as a creator in my formidable years of like finding myself as well. But to also to know that it wasn't even necessarily your music that would be maybe some of my greatest inspiration that I might pull from you, So yeah, just echoing again, a lot of gratitude, a lot of like love and just inspiration felt right now. Just thankful for that you came and shared yourself with
Did
our
I
pod.
tell you how he knows me?
Share the story, please.
Our grandfathers were best friends. Our fathers were best friends. And I don't know if we're best friends or cousins or brothers, but we're something connected. Yeah, so
That's
it's like it's
dope.
3 generations.
That's powerful.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
That's-
I'm thankful that we get to call you a friend now. as
Yeah,
well,
you got
know
it.
what I mean?
Let me acknowledge you guys. So Young Jay does it. I should have told you more about who these guys. These are like the best in the world. It's like #1 dance crew. No. I understand. Like I know it's a lot of like you guys are amongst the top. And so it's an honor to meet you guys too. I know I didn't really get to hear your story, but we'll have to do that later.
Part 2.
Yeah, part
Yeah.
2. And yeah, thank you for just like you've lived all of this stuff too, man. Like you didn't just wake up that good. You guys did a lot to be where you're at. So it's amazing to meet you guys finally. We're gonna have to do something together, man.
Absolutely.
Let's
On
go.
the
Plus
music-
breathing.
on the music and dance tip, though. I mean,
Absolutely,
Let's go.
dude. That's a no-brainer in terms of just life connections and the universe talking.
yeah.
That's what's up. Well, we can't wait for that to happen, man. So, yeah, like how can people follow your journey, man? Anything you want to kind of let people know what's coming out, or how can
I
they-
got some songs coming
Yeah,
out. Be on the
okay.
lookout for that. You can follow me on Spotify. People don't usually say that. You can follow me on Spotify. My name, my real name, and my stage name are the same. They're Mike Posner.
Heyo.
POSN like Nancy ER. And yeah, like on some of the other stuff, like whether it's Wim Hof or lessons from like the walk or the climb, or like I'm really into sprouting too, and like just all about health, really, man. Like I love being alive, bro. And so like trying to like take care of this meat sack and stick around. So I got a lot of content about that, and just on Instagram and TikTok, everything's just at Mike Posner.
That's what's up.
That's
Yeah,
it.
we'll definitely plug all that. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm glad to know that we're gonna keep this thing going. We're gonna be chatting it up a lot more. We wanted to talk about. I mean,
You guys gotta come to Michigan, man.
let's
We
make it
will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
make it
you know,
happen.
that's the funny thing. Just like you're talking about for like 5 years, just pushing back that walk. I've been telling Coco and Eli I would go to Michigan because they've invited me like multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, next year. Something always comes up. But now that you said
You
it,
know, so like up there is like a crazy setup. I don't know if they told you.
they've told me some things. Yes.
But like I told you, our grandfathers were best friends.
Yeah.
Eli's grandfather told my grandfather about this place, and they bought land. They bought land like next to each other, so like we have these family homes,
Yeah.
almost like cottages, or like the whole families own them. So I grew up like every summer next to him, like it was next door. And then like as we've gotten older, and our family's gotten bigger, we have more houses on this street.
Oh my gosh, you got the whole neighborhood.
We got the whole neighborhood. We got a nice little situation going.
All right, and we gotta buy a house in that area.
I feel like
we
you're
were-
downplaying this, but I can imagine.
No, it's like nothing crazy. These aren't like great mansions or nothing like that. It's basically like you're with family, and so it's like you go to the other person's house. I'm like, yeah, man, like you can just go over, and the person's like, so you just like ring their doorbell. I'm like, bro, you don't ring the doorbell. Like you just go in.
Yo, that's like the dream.
Yeah.
That's
Like, that shit,
amazing.
you know what I mean? And so
Wow.
that's the vibe. We call it like a kibbutz or something, man. It's beautiful.
Well,
like, that's how
let's
it's
make that
supposed to be.
happen. Yeah.
So yeah, man, my house is right down the street, dude.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll get some stuff in the works, man. And you know, shout out. I know you recently were at Coachella. Chad was like, "Yo, man, I saw Mike Posner on stage with Big Sean." We're like, "What? He's about to
You
be
were
on the
there?
pod."
Fire. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
beautiful moment. That was a crazy moment.
But again, man, so thank you so much. And again, we'll keep it going. And for everybody tuning in, thank you so much for stopping in with us and listening to the pod. And we appreciate you guys for tuning into every episode. If you guys are digging what we're doing, hop on to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating, write us a review. Make sure you follow us on all socials, KINJAZ Podcast with a K. We're on IG, Twitter, Facebook, all the things. And take a screenshot. Let us know you're listening. We'll regram all that stuff. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for stopping in with
The
y'all.
Kinjaz motherfucker.
That's the soundbite of the whole
That's
marketing
it.
right there.
You heard it here. Peace out, y'all.
Kindred Bang.